What role did AI have during the dark age of technology? Now, it's very fair to think they controlled weapons and did the jobs humanity did not want to do. But what weapons and ships and what dangerous jobs did they do humanity might not fancy trying? Friends, let's find out, and welcome to another 40k video. Medusa is the home world of the Iron Hands. This world's sky is dark and polluted. One area, called the Land of Shadows, is where Ferrus Manus spent his early years. It's believed to be haunted and contain machines whose intelligences have devolved to cannibalistic subroutines, of walking machine dead who shamble across the empty continent to search for human skin. That's Necrons, and for our interest, disembodied silica animus who attempt to interact with a warrior's inload-exload terminus will drive even a veteran Iron Hand to madness. It's said the world is rich in rare elements, and tech wonders and rogue traders and the Mechanicum are both after it. And this all ties into what we know about the planet during the Dark Age. Fully working at the time, but no more, there is the Telstarax. This refers to a monster-size machine that orbits and encircles Medusa's homeworld. Not what it once was. It's believed that it was used to get minerals into space from the planet below, maybe part space elevator and part void space station to have ships dock and pick them up. In M40, much of it has fallen to the planet below, but it doesn't stop the tech marines of the Iron Hands taking a look. They feel something in the relics machine spirits, like it has something waiting to be discovered. So I propose this was all run via AI, and this is one of the roles of the Men of Iron. They were picked to labour. In line with this, we see Dark Age remains on Terra, under the rule of barbarian warlords, in the Tempest Galleries. The Emperor attacks this place with the Salamanders. Amongst others, our interest is in the AI within the Tempest Galleries. These Men of Iron worked deep under the stronghold of the Ethnarchy, who was able to have their base within a hollowed out mountain, very Bond villain, and was protected by power fields. These AI toiled underground to keep that energy flowing for the protection of the Ethnarchy before the Salamanders shut them down. So I think this could indicate they worked in dangerous environments where humanity no longer has to risk themselves. Here is a taste. The galleries were a place of constant storms of flames and electromagnetics, which bled from relic machines. It was made of vast kilometre-high spindle machines, turned by caged seas of molten metal, drawn from the planet's core and spewing forth coronas of blinding lightning, while suspended on silicate webs across which inhuman machines scuttled like spiders. So does that turning that make electricity perhaps to power the warlords' power shields? During the fighting, like the Men of Iron encountered in the first Gaunt's Ghost novel, they continue to be made by the AI in charge. In Gaunt's Ghost, it's by an STC, a slightly different variation on that, to normal a standard template constructor rather than construct. Maybe the same here, and it sends its greatest machine to fight, and ultimately the Salamanders win. So those are possible avenues, and there is a passing mention of an AI guiding people on a hive world with a little further details, and in a Warhammer crime story, a serial killer AI that runs basically a factory and removes anyone it perceives to be a threat to it and its business. So you can imagine them doing those tiresome jobs, putting in the shifts down the manufactorum, and that's about all. So what roles did the Men of Iron fulfill during wartime? And we have two warfare-minded AIs mentioned, the Aurak Myriad and the Tabula Myriad. Both are tactical machines that with cold logic deduct how to beat one's enemy. One comes up with a plan to free Mars from the Mechanicum, or the Dark Mechanicum it's better to say. The others help Vashtor during the Arcs of Omen. It helps find the rock, the fortress monitory of the highly secretive Dark Angels, and calculate an ambush for it, which succeeds as Vashtor's forces come out of the warp at the exact moment required. So you see the cogitating power they have. Now, imagine how two of these things together would work. The Men of Iron following the orders of the Myriads, maybe even jumps between the bodies of the Men of Iron, and also combine that with the STC spewing out soldiers. You can see if those elements were combined during the Dark Age, endless tactically precise soldiers serving the cold logic of the plans of those two engines. The xenos they face might even be unable to comprehend the plan they were coming up against before they were destroyed, because there's so many steps ahead. You can see how this will be effective. We also get the sense that during the Dark Age, when the Men of Iron were controlling everything, we have the mention of the Father of Titans, who was the model for all that followed. He has an inbuilt STC, and we have multiple references in ships run via AI. Some, at least, when found, are working by themselves, such as the Holiday ship two members of the Mechanicum find. That's in a horror story. The Speranza is found abandoned, but Mechanicus fill it up for a long journey, and the Slaughter Song and the Spirit of Eternity both previously had pilots they are bonded to, so you can say Dark Age ships likely operated independently. Later, with the examples of the Holiday ship, this would have been when the Men of Iron were independent. I'd placed the pilots bonded ships around the time of the Man of Stone, and the Speranza is so awesome. I see it as an experiment, a one-off, an anomaly. So looking at the roles each ship served, one for holidays, two seemed to explore, and the Speranza had an ultimate purpose we can only really speculate on. So those are the examples we have in lore. There seems to be a variety of ships for exploration, combat and pleasure, which gives you a feel for what those times are like. But always remember, it's a period of 10,000 years. The sources are vague and so much worse than second-hand knowledge, so a lot of speculation and theorising is required. And speaking of that, I think this Dark Age tech would be in pretty much everything. The best stuff would be with those at the top, the Men of Stone, and lesser versions would filter down to those below. That's me speculating, so let me know what you think to this lore I've theorised over here. What are your thoughts on the Dark Age of technology, and how it might have been? Do you, in some of the theories, disagree or disagree? If so, tell me how. I returned to this subject after a break, and it's nice to talk about it again and go down some unexplored avenues I've not explored before. I think a lot of the basic lore and the theories I've made from them have remained the same. I will stay on this subject for a few more weeks, but I'm trying to break it up with videos like the one I just did on the Kroot and what they might eat. And if you like this video on 40k, then why not try this one? And if you want a long list of videos on the Dark Age of technology, theories and actual lore, there's a video for that, or should I say there's a playlist for that, and there's also one that covers everything. I've made a lot of videos on both topics at this time. I also covered Trench Crusade, which shares a lot of real-world DNA with 40k. There's a playlist on that on the channel. At time of recording, I'm waiting for some new lore to drop to get some new theories and research. I've also covered Dune a lot on the channel. It was one of the reasons I made the channel to begin with. That's been quiet for a while, but I did a vid a few weeks ago, so check that out, and I'm looking for more ideas. There is a place for that too, along with one for the subjects I've covered a bit, the Expanse book and series, mainly the books, the Sun Eater series by Christopher Rucchio, and Red Rising by Chris Brown.